Hi guys, am I audible? Hello everyone, are we audible? Yes. So today, good evening now, not good afternoon. So 20 internships for law students who want to pursue commercial litigation work. Today we are going to be discussing certain internships, how to get it. I have with me Radha. So these are in series of lectures we are going to be taking about commercial litigation and how to go about it. I think there were some of you who were there in our previous lectures. So before we start, can I have a brief round of your background, that what you're currently doing, whether you're a law student? Also, what are the questions? Like you must be having certain questions regarding internships that you would want. See, we will be taking all the doubts and everything in the end. So whatever you need to post, just post it through the chat. Do not go to questions. I'll be continuously following the chat, whatever you're posting. So Prince is law student, Aditi is law student. What about others? Okay, Pranav is also law student.
Yeah, I think most of them are law students.
Okay, almost all of you are law students.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what you can do is you can just post your questions that you have related to internships and all, and we will be taking it up after we finish with whatever we have thought we will be covering in today's lecture. So first of all, brief introduction about myself. I'm Yash Vijayvargiya. I have graduated from National University, Calcutta in 2016. I was an in-house counsel for Bharat Petroleum, and after that, I have my independent practice in last 3 years. So I have represented, appeared, or had stake in different forums. With me is somebody who has much more experience and much more able experience than me, Radhalakshmi.
Yeah.
So would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I will. So, hi, I'm Radhalakshmi. I graduated from Shastra University in 2014, and after that, in 2014, I joined the Chamber of an Advocate on Record. But I also had an occasion to handle a lot of commercial matters in his chamber because he was also regularly briefed in a lot of high stake commercial matters. So, I've appeared before Supreme Court, High Court, Delhi, the District Courts of Delhi, TDSAT, Competition Commission, and arbitrations, international as well as domestic. So I've had considerable experience handling commercial matters, and I think Yash knows more about PSUs than anyone else.
So together, we have handled a lot of commercial matters, and probably I would say that both of our expertise lies in commercial side of litigation rather than the criminal or other side of litigation. That's where we have worked most of the time. So what we would be discussing is what are the internships that are there. So first, what we are going to be discussing and what is going to be structure of our discussion today. First is, what do you mean by commercial litigation? When we say commercial litigation, what do you guys understand? Second, why internships are really important before pursuing commercial litigation independently. So a lot of people think that they will be interning, they will not be interning. I don't know if there are any people who think like that, or they'll directly work in a law firm and then they'll move to commercial litigation. So that then we will be discussing top 20 internships. So yeah, probably we have shortlisted about 20 places where you can intern and which are the best places if you are actually looking to transition into a commercial litigator. So now it's moot, right? If we discuss all of these internships and do not tell you that why do you need to do this or how do you get these internships. So while covering each of this internship, we will tell you that what is the right time of doing that internship and how to get it. We have tried to structure it in not in a chronological manner. So we will be focusing in a certain kind of internships before other. But overall, we hope that you understand where we are trying to go with it today. So over to Radha, you'd like to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is commercial litigation? What do we mean by commercial litigation?
Yeah. So commercial litigation, that is like, so although we say that commercial litigation is a niche area, I think it encompasses a lot of things like insolvency, arbitrations, then breach of contract, all these infrastructure projects. A lot of things come within the ambit of commercial litigation. Can you guys think of anything else other than what I just mentioned, which would come under the purview of commercial litigation?
So what do you think when we talk about the word commercial litigation, what does it come to your mind?
Yeah.
There would be contracts. सबसे पहले तो याद है कि there must be some breach of contract. But other than that, what are the things that you think when commercial litigation comes? See, we will not move ahead. We will only tell you 5 internships if you are very slow with your responses. So as fast as you are with responses, that's how fast we will be moving with our number of internships. So please reply. ठीक है, arbitration, everybody is clear कि arbitration तो हो गई when we are talking about commercial litigation. Other than that,
Yeah. I think arbitration comes to your mind the first thing as soon as anyone says commercial.
Arbitration is like first thing everybody says.
Yeah.
उसके अलावा क्या होगा? Intellectual property. Very good, Prince.
Very good.
What else? Something very certain basic things that if you are talking about mergers acquisition. Okay, mergers acquisition mein what is the litigation part jay? Competition, yes. Partnership, very good, Lavina. So we are talking about litigation, remember that. Commercial litigation. Litigation word is also important. Merchandising, trade and sales, very good. All right, so yeah. So markets and securities, good. Any case having value more than 3 lakhs, very good. Where does that come from? Value. Yes, Commercial Courts Act. So we will be talking about Commercial Courts Act also today. Disputes of government bodies like NHI, competent authorities. Good. So see, the idea is that when we are talking about commercial litigation here, we are going to be talking in a broad manner, not just Commercial Courts Act, but we will be, so if there is any dispute which involves a high stake matter, which is including a big ticket matter, that it relates to taxation, that relates to, yeah, Radha, come in here.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have got a lot of idea. Did Ameya say where he got this figure from? 3 lakhs?
Yeah, Commercial Courts Act. Finally, we have somebody giving Commercial Courts Act. So you'd like to elaborate on Commercial Courts Act?
Yeah. So ever since Commercial Courts Act came into India, the litigation scene has changed a lot. Because earlier, going to courts in India was something that used to scare all the international parties, and they would make sure that the jurisdiction would lie in some other country and definitely not India. And Commercial Courts Act, once that was passed, the legislation was passed, I think now we have a lot of international parties agreeing to India as they're agreeing to come under the jurisdiction of Indian courts, because they've basically cut down the litigation process a lot. Like there are guidelines which say that you have to, finish off the entire litigation in a certain period of time.
Which does not happen, but then there are certain strict things like written statements in 90 days, and all of those things are strictly followed.
And then admission denial should be in a particular form. Yeah, and I think also arbitration, the amendment has aided this a lot, right?
Absolutely. And also it is being progressing really fast. There are certain teething issues that what is a commercial matter, which still courts are trying to conclude, or the mandatory mediation or conciliation that always happens irrespective of what the issue is. But other than that, it has brought about a lot of change in commercial litigation aspect. So that is one thing. That's why if you are looking to go into commercial litigation, be very thorough with Commercial Courts Act. And there are newer judgments that are coming. There are newer precedents that are coming on very finer points of law in past few years. So follow that very closely. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think
Radha?
I will add onto that that you should even be well versed in arbitration, because most parties would go for arbitration before they come to even court. So
Yeah,
arbitration, the judgments, everything, you should be up to date with it. Otherwise, it
absolutely.
can actually affect your practice when it comes to commercial litigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. And then when we are today talking about commercial litigation, so we are also including, we also mean it in a very wide manner, that we will be talking about taxation issues or other high stake matters that have primarily a commercial aspect towards it. So we will deal with those also, that how do you get to work in those kind of matters. Okay. So why internships are important before pursuing commercial litigation independently? What do you say, Radha? That
Yes.
why internships help?
Yeah, because you don't understand. Yes, you might study the act in college and everything, but once you see it in action, how it is applied to a particular situation, and how the procedural aspect you understand only when you have dealt with it in person. Otherwise, I think procedure is very difficult to understand. Even with arbitrations, people still don't know, in international arbitrations, the procedure that's followed would be different. There is some other guideline that's followed compared to domestic arbitrations. And when it comes to commercial courts act, I think even after handling like 2 3 matters, you don't understand the entire commercial courts act. I think all of us are still learning commercial courts act, right?
Yeah. Correct. And also another thing you have to remember when you're talking about commercial litigation is that most of your clients, they will be big ticket clients. These are not individuals looking for immediate resolution. So if you're thinking that you'll just, after 5 years, you'll do a proper international move, you'll do an LLM from abroad and come back and get very good clients. So that doesn't happen. Here, networking plays a very, very important role when it comes to commercial litigation, working with the senior, being out there. So that is where internships help. Internships also help is that most of these lawyers work in a very complementary basis. So if you're working with some lawyer or with some places, you will also get networking in the in the field. So that's why internships are a good place to start with. And I would suggest that do it from your second year and onwards, irrespective of whether you want to do a litigation or not, and or you want to do you want to be a transactional lawyer. Commercial litigation will always help you. It will give you that perspective on how to interpret law, how contracts are executed, because drafting contract, it doesn't make sense unless you know how they are enforced. So it is very important to have a litigation base, especially in your first 3 years.
Yeah, it also even helps in understanding, what one should look at when a merger is taking place, or, any kind of transaction is taking place. You will understand what all are the, like points that you should, finer points that you should make sure are, or are taken care of, so that to avoid a litigation, right? No one wants to go to court. So to avoid a litigation, you will understand what all should be taken care of in a transaction.
Okay, perfect. So I think this part is clear. Any questions still here? Otherwise, we'll just start with the internships now. Which are the internships that you should be doing? Some of them are obvious, but a lot of them are not so obvious. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So very, very important. Rather, you'd like to take this one?
Yeah, I take that one. So interning with a retired Supreme Court or High Court judge, it's very important, because these are the people who are appointed as arbitrators in all these commercial matters. And it is, so it's very easy to understand who are the ones, not all retired judges endeavor to do an arbitration. A lot of people just choose not to do arbitrations as well. So to understand, which judge is doing stake commercial arbitrations, it's very easy to understand that. So all you need to do is go through the Section 11 orders passed by the concerned High Court or Supreme Court, and you will get to know who are being appointed
So
as.
what are Section 11 orders, Radha? Can you explain it? Because most of these are law students.
Yeah, so Section 11 is where the parties approach the High Court or Supreme Court to appoint an arbitrator. So when these orders are passed, the High Court appoints or nominates someone as an arbitrator. And these are mostly the retired Supreme Court or High Court judges, depending on how much is the stake in the arbitration. They appoint either of these two judges, and you understand who are the judges who are being appointed. So getting an internship under them will be really helpful, because you get to see a variety of arbitrations. If you're interning with a lawyer in a month's time, you don't see so many arbitrations, because they'll be working on a limited number of arbitrations, whereas a Supreme Court or High Court retired Supreme Court or High Court judge would be working on many arbitrations. And you will get to see so many different, some might be just infrastructure, some might be service contracts, some might be IP matters. So you get to see a variety of matters as well. So I think this internship will really give you a good insight into commercial, true blue commercial matters. And now we'll go into how to apply. So if you have a reference or a contact, we can't emphasize this more, right, Yash? When you
Yes.
have a reference or a contact, it really helps, because then it will be. So otherwise, yeah, these internships are generally offered through internship groups and LinkedIn. So make sure that you are looking at such opportunities.
Groups, yeah. Otherwise, just nothing else. You follow our newsletter. We share these opportunities quite regularly whenever they come.
Yeah, we
Self
do.
plug in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire experience. And like Radha said, that in these cases, generally, yes, contact helps. Having someone inside really helps in these things. Otherwise, there will be opportunities where the registry will be inviting applications. No, this is right now we are talking about High Court judges. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
better.
no, the judges won't be posting on LinkedIn, Pranav, but there are, so you get to know about these. Of course, all these judges are not very tech savvy. Some of them are, but they are not
So
on
these are
LinkedIn.
retired judges. Remember that.
Yeah.
All of
So
these are retired judges.
yeah, so they don't have LinkedIn profiles, but you get to know from all these internship groups on LinkedIn that such people are offering internships. And
Yeah.
if you are interning with a lawyer and you happen to be in an arbitration where such a judge is present, I won't say that you shouldn't approach them. You can actually approach them and then ask for an internship. It really helps.
Yeah, see, it is as simple as that. There's some retired judge I am working with. So if we need an intern, I would be the one posting for an opportunity in my college alumni group on LinkedIn and everything, inviting the application. It is just like a chamber. So that's how these internships work. So look out for these whenever you see some. So another way is that if you're seeing that there's this retired High Court judge or Supreme Court judge who is regularly involved in these kind of matters, search. You will definitely find their junior or somebody in the chamber on LinkedIn. So connect with those people and ask what are the internship opportunities that are there. That's also a very good way to go about it. And also this is very niche, so most people do not do it. So if you have an insight, this works. Second, public sector
I
undertaking.
think
So
this is
PSUs.
something that Yash would know better than me.
Yeah. So I have worked in a PSU for about 2 years. So I really think that interning in PSU is a really good way to learn. Uh, especially in your second or third year. Why do I think so? Because PSUs are melting point of almost all commercial matters. What happens in a PSU is you will get all kind of matters. You will get to draft contracts. There will be a case going on about breach of contract. Then there will be an arbitration matter that would be going on. Then there will be a Public Premises Act matter that you would be involved in. Then there would be some lease issues you would be involved in. So basically, all kind of matters that come regularly. And what happens with these? What happens with these is that lawyers get to do everything, but as a legal officer, you will have so much work that you would really be looking for help from interns, and you rarely get good interns who know these things. So so if So if there is somebody who is in the office who is able to help you, their work would be appreciated. And second, learning curve is going to be very steep because you can choose what kind of work you want to do. We generally have all kind of work that is there in PSU. Now, question is, how do you get these internships in a public sector undertaking? So all public sector undertakings work differently, but generally there is one thing which is common in all these PSUs, that there is no set internship program. What you will have to do is approach the legal officer that is there. Generally they have authority to appoint apprentices or internships on ad hoc basis without a stipend. So do that. If you know some of your senior who are working in a PSU, or if you know a common LinkedIn connection, approach them that you would like to intern for a particular period of time. And that has happened with me. We have gotten interns just because they have approached us.
Yeah, so Yash, Jay has requested that we should also specify which internship should be done by which year of law student.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we were talking about the first internship, when do you think rather that somebody should be interning with
I think that internship you can even do in your second year or third year, because you would get to see a variety. You will understand what exactly you want to probably you want to next intern under a lawyer specializing in a particular kind of commercial arbitration. So all that you get to understand from interning with a retired judge. So I think you can even intern when you're in your second or third year. You can approach a judge and they'll really be happy to help you.
Absolutely. And similarly, a PSU internship also you should be trying in your third year. Do not do it in your fourth year or fifth year, because these internships do not have any connection whatsoever with your employment. They are only for your knowledge. So try to do it in second or third year so that you at least get something. And what happens is you have a certificate from a government organization. You have a certificate from PSU. So when you're applying to another place as a legal in-house counsel or an internship, it really helps you. So that is why a good idea would be to strategize it in your second or third year. Yeah, fourth semester of college, fifth semester of college, sixth semester of college, but not after this.
Yeah, because I think even with a retired judge, your job opportunities, you don't get a job opportunity, no PPO. So I think you should definitely try for that later on.
Then we have tier one law firms. So this is pretty obvious that why somebody would be interning in here. Everybody wants to intern in these places. These are the top internships if you want to get into commercial litigation as well. So generally what happens is people have this dilemma that I want to get into commercial litigation. So why should I be interning in a tier one law firm? So understand one thing, that you would be while you would be on the transactional side, the kind of specificity you will develop about the process, the kind of things you will understand, that how transactions work, it will help you a lot when you come back to the litigation work. Second, drafting of contracts, the meticulousness that works, the processes that are there in tier one law firms are unparalleled. So it is extremely useful and fruitful that if you intern there, irrespective of whether you want to work there or not. What do you think, Radha?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, it's very important. And I think all the huge conglomerates, they don't go to individual lawyers and give them their, high stake litigation matters. They tend to go to law firms because they think they're more well equipped to handle, especially when there is a voluminous matter where, so many documents, things that you need a huge team of people to work on. They would prefer to go to a law firm which is equipped to do so. So definitely they will go to a tier one or tier one law firm. Yes.
So that is what happens when you hear about a litigation team of a law firm. That is what happens. What that team actually does is they will do all the drafting, they will be briefing the senior counsel that is engaged, and they'll be doing the coordinating part. As an intern, probably what you would be doing is carrying files, but you'll also see the process really closely. You will understand that how coordination work, how counsels, what is important of a counsel, and you'll understand the two different roles that are there involved in the same matter, drafting as well as arguing in the court, and how things are approached differently. So that's why I think litigation law firms are very good place to intern if you get there.
Yeah, I think all the strategizing, everything happens in the law firm, how to approach, what kind of, whether you should go to court or whether you should go for arbitration, all those decisions are made there.
Yeah, perfect. And second thing I just wanted to bring in here was, if you are somebody who is not from a top tier law college and you're looking for interning in a top tier litigation law firm, how do you go about it? So take it step by step. Go to a boutique firm, do an internship with a lawyer who has worked on landmark cases, try to intern with a senior, and then getting that internship in a litigation team would be pretty easy. Or the other way around is you work in the transactional team and then move to litigation team. That also happens with a lot of people, right?
Yes, a lot of people do that. Like in the same firm, you intern with different teams, because once you've gotten a break into a law firm, then it's easier to find someone else in some other team who is willing to offer you an internship. Yes.
All right, so let's move to the next thing. We have just covered 3 in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so legal counsel of the company.
Oh,
Then
yes, we
again,
have to also tell them which year they should try for this internship.
so law firm is generally fourth or fifth year. Very strictly, you should try to intern in a tier one law firm only in your fourth year or fifth year. By the time you're, because these are not the places where you just go and learn. We always tell our students also this, that when you're interning in a law firm, it is very important for you to show that there are certain skills that you already have acquired by the time you are going there. Correct? What do you think?
Yes, it's very important, so that, if you keep interning with the same team, probably you could get a PPO. So you always look at such internships with that job opportunity in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you are strategizing with internships, always remember that what are the chances of this internship being converted into job opportunities? If you see that these are the internships which can be converted into job opportunities, try to do them towards later part of your law school, fourth, fifth year for 5 year, or third year for 3 year law school, right?
Yes.
Remember that.
Only by then would you have acquired the know-how that they would appreciate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So legal counsel of the company. So this is a dicey thing, interning as a legal counsel of the company. I would not suggest you strongly that you should do it in fourth or fifth year unless you know a lot about the company and its recruitment policy. For instance, there are certain companies like ITC and all which regularly recruit from interns or people who have worked there previously. But otherwise, do these internship again in second and third year if it's a big company. If it's a small company, if it's a startup, if it has recently started, then do it in fourth or fifth year, because then what they do is they have long-term internship programs. So why do you intern as a legal counsel of the company? First and foremost is you see the entire transaction. It's a very good combination of transactional and litigation work. You will be doing both. What you will be doing is you will be coordinating with a lot of law firms for transactional work. You will be coordinating with a lot of lawyers for your litigation day-to-day work. There will be taxation aspect to it. So you will see overall functioning of the company. So a legal counsel is a very good place, especially in your second or third year, to understand what are the different kind of legal issues that arise. Second, you work in high stake matters. If you're working with a very big company, they will be involved in, at least certainly for some Supreme Court or High Court matters, where you be able to attend proceedings and understand that what would be the implications from company side of you, right?
Yes. We had an intern who, when we were handling a matter against Reliance, we had an intern who actually got an internship with Reliance just because he went and spoke to the legal officer of Reliance. So yeah, when you know that there is a company where there is a lot of like matters going on, and you get to know that if you've interned in court, you understand that these are the companies that are involved in, like, I think Star would be a great option if you want to understand how media industry works, and how litigations happen, the regulatory work, like there you understand how these companies approach such litigations and what are the issues involved. I think it's a great place to intern when, yeah, but again, I think just like Yash said, probably second and third year, because very few of them would actually hire you, even if you've interned with them.
Okay. Yeah, and see, taking forward from what Radha has said, also important thing is you will be doing a lot of coordination with NBFCs, law firms, senior counsels, and all. So you get to meet. It is other way around also, that if you're working with a senior counsel, you work with the company, and if you're working with a company, you work with the senior counsel. You create those relationships which will help you in getting that fourth year or fifth year internship, which will give you PPO. So they're also strategizing this sometime around second or third year helps, according to me.
Yeah.
So how do you get this internship? So legal counsel internships are probably the most difficult to get without contacts, because they generally do not have any internship programs. They are not there, and they get very irritated if you call them or if you are following up, because they already have a lot of things in mind. So they do not have internship programs. So how do you do it? So shortlist a company first. Decide. You can't be thinking that I want to intern in a legal counsel of a company. That's not how it works. You have to think that I want to intern as a legal counsel of an IT company. I want to intern as a legal counsel of a manufacturing company, or of some technology company. Then after that, you start developing your skill with that particular sector. If you're IT, you work in privacy contracts, you work in technology contracts, you have a good knowledge of intellectual property, have that sector specific profile. After that, connect to the league. Again, the same thing which happens. You connect to people who are working there. You tell them that how interested you are in that kind of work, what are the different cases that company is involved, and ask questions, follow up. So that has very high chances of conversion and offering you that internship opportunities, because there are no formal internship places here. So yeah, that's from my end. Now boutique or mid-tier law firms. You would like to take this one, Dada?
Yeah. Like there are certain law firms which specialize in certain kind of matters. So we know some law firms specialize in regulatory matters, some in media law, and some in sports specific matters. So these really help. So depending on your area of interest, you should identify such firms. Very few. I mean, you have to do your research before you apply, because you will have to tailor your application and CV, everything according to what kind of law firm you are applying to. So I think this would be better in fourth year or fifth year, when you actually know what kind of area are you interested in pursuing. So yeah, there is a small team of lawyers, and they will actually pay a lot of attention to what you're doing and what kind of work you're doing, and they might be actively looking to recruit people into their team. So these internships are, you will have to take it a little more seriously. So that is why the fourth or fifth year, these internship would work perfectly. But identifying your area you want to work is very, very, very important before you try to pursue such.
So I'll tell you something personal about boutique law firms. So when I was interning, I was in my college. At that time, boutique law firms were not that big a thing. They would pay less, and they would only be doing lower transactional matters. But now, what has happened with boutique law firms are they have very specialized services. They are servicing on very niche areas of technology, and also you can try interning with them. That will also give you a very good opportunity to understand that area. And later, when you are applying for a tier one law firm, you will have demonstrable experience in those things. So, and most importantly, what happens, like Radha said, that a small team that is there in a boutique law firm, they have proper internship programs. They generally invest a lot in interns. They will have 2 to 3 months internship programs. So there, the chances of learning are higher. Ask anybody who has interned in a tier one law firm that the number of interns that will be there. There will be that entire room full of interns. Everybody is scrambling to get work.
Yes,
So
yes.
that doesn't happen in a boutique law firm generally.
Yeah, you will definitely get, good amount of work. No one will ask you to do routine work in such law firms, whereas
Yeah.
in sometimes in big law firms, all you would be doing is routine, probably some documentation or something.
Yeah, because also the idea is that in boutique law firms वैसे भी lawyers कम होते हैं. So generally even a first year associate or second year associate would be working on good things. So when the work percolates to an intern, it is going to be a good thing. In a tier one law firm, honestly, I'm telling you, first 2 years you're not going to be there in the transaction at all. You're just going to be in observational role. So imagine the kind of work an intern gets in those law firms vis-a-vis in a boutique law firm. And how do you get these? So generally these are either easy to get, or you should have interned with a senior advocate, or should have written a research paper on the subject that particular law firm specializes in. These are not that competitive. If you apply a little bit in advance, there are very high chances that you will be getting that internship.
I think even certificate courses in niche areas would really help, right? Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, most of our students, what we do is we always target a boutique law firm first. We have general tie-ups with a lot of boutique law firms because they not only get to learn what they not only get to apply what they have learned in our courses, but they always come back to us and say that these internships were such a big learning experience. We learned a lot during these internships. So there's a very high satisfaction rate that students say when they are talking about boutique law firms. Okay. So yeah, this you will be very good to tell.
Yeah, so when I think these internships, you will understand if you have interned either with a company or with any kind of chamber or any kind of law firm, you would understand the senior advocates who are briefed in such matters, like all these high stake commercial litigation. There are some who routinely appears only in arbitration. Very few times do they go to even court. So you intern with such senior advocates who are concentrating on commercial matters, arbitration, as well as in court, and you get a very good idea of how arguments are put forth, how an evidence. So most of the evidence is also conducted by senior advocates in such arbitrations and in such trials, because these are high stake matters. The client would definitely not want to risk it, so they engage a senior even for the evidence stage. So you get to see how questions are put to witnesses, what kind of documents are put to witnesses, how arguments are made in such matters, what are the legal issues he will identify that are to be argued in court. So you understand the entire process that is involved in the court craft that is involved in taking such matters forward. And yeah, so I've covered this. And yeah, so these are really great. But again, I think I would prefer to do such internships in third or fourth year, because sometimes these internships can actually convert to a job opportunity. Some of the seniors actually take forward their interns and ask them to join their chamber. So these would really, really help towards the fourth year, third year, where you can go on back to the senior and intern again and again with him if you think that he is got a lot of uh, matters which you are interested in. So yeah, again, this is a very good networking opportunity, that we all know how seniors have got such good. You intern with one senior, you will get to know another one in this process. And then even law firms which are briefing the senior, if you're really good with your research skills, you can actually impress the partner of the law firm who's coming to brief the senior as well as the senior. So I think these are really great internship opportunities for third and fourth years.
Yeah, and to add to that, another thing that happens according to me, working with a high court and a Supreme Court lawyer, is your research skills improve a lot. The amount of your ability to learn commentaries, to read judgments, to understand their application. It's a very, very steep learning curve. Plus the work ethic you will develop if it's a good chamber. So those are two or three things that you should be really looking forward other than the opportunities that such internships will have.
Yeah. And
How
how
do
do
you
you
get?
get, yeah, how do you get such internships? So I think with the senior advocates, easiest way is to approach the junior of the senior advocates. If through LinkedIn, in courts, you might have the personal, email IDs of such juniors on some of these platforms. So it really helps if you can approach the junior, because mostly the senior himself may not be going through all these applications. So if you have a reference, yes, you might definitely get an internship. Otherwise, a short way is to approach one of the juniors of the senior. Yeah.
Yeah, third year.
Yeah,
right?
third year.
You'd like to take this one, arbitration?
Yeah. So there are arbitration centers. A few of them are DIAC, Delhi International Arbitration Center, and Indian Council of Arbitration. They actually offer internships. You might see some notifications that may come out, and these really help to understand the procedure. So each one, like Delhi International Arbitration Center, has their own rules which govern the arbitration proceedings, and you will see how they conduct the arbitration proceedings, how documentation is done in arbitration proceedings, and you get to see the administrative part of it. Interning anywhere else, you will not understand how, what are the procedural aspects that one should follow. Like Delhi Arbitration Center, I know a lot of interns are there, so you get to see a variety of arbitrations, and you also see a different kinds of arbitrators as well. You see technical arbitrators, like engineers who sit in particular contracts, this as arbitrators, and then there are judges who come, retired Supreme Court judges, High Court judges. So you see a lot of different kind of arbitration, including very high stake. A lot of people do not want this unregulated procedure of arbitration, so they go to these centers and they actually subject to themselves to the such centers, which would help them regulate the procedure. Yeah. And yeah, most of them have a separate internship program, and you have to apply. So I think you have to keep checking their website, and you will understand what is the procedure that you have to adopt to apply for such internships.
Yeah.
And these internships, again, I think second, third year would be best suited, because these don't convert to a job opportunity.
Absolutely. Try doing this in second year. It can be one of the first internships you do in your arbitration. It's a good starting point to get into arbitration. Again, so now we will talk about interning with international organizations like International Chamber of Commerce, World Trade Organizations, and all. So a lot of people think that these are really impossible for law students to get, and how can you intern with international organization? But I am telling you from my experience that these organizations have very good internship programs. Two things you need to do is, first, you will have to apply about 6 to 10 months in advance. That's when they take applications. Second thing is, they plays a lot of role in your co-curricular activities, what you have achieved. If you have written something, if you have some interdisciplinary research, if you have a knowledge of economics and you have written papers like that, so that really helps in these internships. Look out for these, because what happens with these internships is that once you have interned here, then world is your oyster. When you will be coming back to India and you will be applying for anywhere else, whether it's a government organization, whether it's a law firm, whether it's a legal counsel job, you will be very easy to go through. I have my friends who have interned in third or fourth year in International Chamber of Commerce or WTO. The only thing is you have to pay is your return flight ticket. Everything else is paid by them. So these are also not very expensive internships to do, unlike what people think of them. You get a very good stipend here. And these are also very college agnostic, by the way. Your background really matters. That if you're somebody who is a first generation learner and everything, so they place a lot of impetus on things like that. The next would be intern with local organizations like 𝗶̈C, ICC, Indian Chambers of Commerce, and other organizations which do a lot of work for the industry, which draft policies. So what happens with these organizations is that you understand industry's point of view. Here you are not doing proper legal work. You would be organizing seminars, you would be doing policy advocacy thing, you'd be coordinating discussions, but the contacts that you get, the networking opportunities that you get here are unparalleled. You will be working with industry leaders very closely. They do not have lot of interns. And how do you get, most importantly, how do you get this internship? So generally it's very easy. Try to go through the profile of board members. Most of them are pretty easily reachable on LinkedIn, as surprising as it sounds. They apply if you have a good background, if you can apply and follow up. These are pretty easy. I have seen so many people interning with these organizations. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can take
So
this one, Radha.
yeah, intern with trial court and high court advocates. So because of Commercial Courts Act coming into the picture, a lot of advocates are specializing in commercial matters. So in states like, I think other than Delhi, Bombay, the High Court doesn't have jurisdiction. The District Court has jurisdiction over commercial matters, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because in Delhi, most of the commercial matters go to High Court, because all the high stake ones go to Delhi High Court.
No,
So
here it is district court. We have a separate commercial district court also.
yeah, so I think it's really, really helpful, and because you understand the entire trial process, how it is. Like we just spoke about how the admission denial is completely different in a commercial uh, matter, and how even written statement, there is a stipulation, and the affidavit that goes along with the written statement, there is a specific format. You would understand all this when you have interned with a lawyer specializing in commercial matters in the high court and trial courts. And these, I think, just like any other internship, you would have to go apply to the concerned person in the chamber of the lawyer advocate who you wish to intern with. Some of them are actually available on LinkedIn. So if you can reach out to them through LinkedIn, that's also great. And they actually put out a lot of these trial court and high court lawyer advocates actually put out internship opportunities on LinkedIn and other platforms. And I think even
Yeah,
our
and
newsletters.
these are pretty
Yeah,
easy. See, I'll tell you from a small town's perspective, if you're living in a tier 2 city or tier 3 city, you will know who are the lawyers. Just go to the commercial court. You will get to know who are the lawyers who are most regularly appearing before these in these matters. And honestly, these internships work this that you wear your white shirt, you wear your coat, you take your briefcase, and you say that I want to intern. They really don't care. You can just work there for a month, and if you start contributing, it would be converted into an internship. There's no formal internship application, there's no CV sharing, nothing of those sort happen. You just have to follow the lawyer. Well, there are very few lawyers so there are very few people who anyway are interested in these kind of matters. So do that. This is a very good thing to do, especially in your first or second year of internship. Or in your fifth year, if you're looking to join a chamber or join a lawyer who is good, then try doing this in your fifth year. That really
yeah,
works.
yeah. In high Delhi, you see a lot of these, lawyers who specialize in commercial matters, and most of them, their juniors are available on LinkedIn, so you can just reach out to them. It's very easy to get an internship
Yeah.
with them. But yes, of course, some of them are flooded with internship requests. So, if you are in one of the bigger cities, then yes, I would say at least apply 2 months in advance so that they will have a place for you.
Chartered accountant firms such as PwC, which would deal with taxation and other transaction of top companies. So this, and also a lot of CAs. You can work with chartered accountants in your third, fourth, and fifth year as well. So yeah, Radha, you'd like to explain the firm
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, I will. So most of the taxation matters, the chartered accountants themselves would be dealing with such matters at like commissioner level and even ITAT level. They might ITAT or CESTAT level. A lot of chartered accountants deal with such matters. So you understand the entire process, because I think they understand taxation. If you're interested in taxation, especially, this internship would be very, very, very enriching for you, because you understand how what are the problems that can arise when it comes to taxation, how a commissioner deals with a taxation issue, and how a tribunal would deal with such issues. So I think this is a very, very enriching experience if you're interested in taxation as a area of practice, and you can apply to them. There are some firms that put out internship opportunities. Although they might not be looking for a legal intern, you can definitely apply. And also, I think if you have any kind of reference, it will be really, 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 at least they would have a look at your CV. Yeah. So that
Yeah, if you
really
have
works.
some of your chartered accountant seniors, uncles,
Yeah.
somebody who is working in these firms, it would be very easy to get you a legal internship there because they. And also, I'll tell you that even if you're not interning with these firms, try working with chartered accountants in your third, fourth, or fifth year. I've personally done that, and what you will realize is you will be able to contribute a lot in their practice, and you'll also learn a lot in the process because it's a very complementary thing. They do not have a lot of knowledge about legal precedents or how to draft, but they have very good base. Most of them have very good base when it comes to taxation, when it comes to compliances and everything. So probably the soul is there, but you put a body to it most of the time when you're initially starting. So especially in small cities or people who have traditional practices, so these are good places to work and establish tax practice, or before you're working with a senior in taxation, try at least working with these for 2 or 3 months. You'd like to add anything other?
No, I think that is sufficient. So you actually get to deal with a lot of different matters. I think it is not just a niche area of taxation you get to deal with, because a lot of lawyers, even though they deal with taxation matters, they deal with a niche area of taxation, right? They
Yeah,
don't deal with everything. Here you get to see GST, service tax,
absolutely.
customs, everything. So that's like a very wide.
That's a very, very good point. That actually you get to work in the newer areas of laws. You understand compliances, and then when you are drafting writ petition or something, you will have a very good perspective of what you are arguing. So do this. After that, we have next year.
Yeah, intern with a Supreme Court or High Court judge who is holding. So you know that High Court and Supreme Court now has come out with a roster system. So you know which benches deal with what kind of matter. So actually interning with a Supreme Court or High Court judge who is sitting on the commercial or arbitration roster would really be an enriching experience, because most of these high stake matters, they always culminate in a Supreme Court, or at least High Court, definitely, because no one wants to take an award as final, or even a trial court if they've decided something, they don't want to take it as final. So you get to see the finer legal issues involved in such matters when it comes to Supreme Court and High Court, and you also get to see the other side of how you see the practice side of law, and then you get to see how law is applied and how judgments are written by these judges. A lot of these judges actually give you the judgment to write the factual metrics of the case. So you get it's a very, very, very enriching experience. So when one of my friends, she was interning with one of the judges in the High Court of Delhi, and he actually conducted a judgment writing competition for them so that they get a really good training on how to write judgments. So that's a really, really interesting experience, because you don't see the other side of law. I mean, at least not the benches side of law very often. So it's a very enriching experience.
Yeah, and also imagine the kind of exposure you are having. You're sitting on the other side of the dais. You are seeing arguments every day. You're understanding the procedures very closely. You understand what's the role of court clerk. You are exposed to the mistakes that happen while, in communication. Most importantly, you get to know all of these things at a very early stage. Second, you get an audience with some of the more senior counsels on a regular basis, because these are people who will be appearing in matters often, and if these is a long-term internship, they will be remembering your face, and probably 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line, when you're applying for a position, this gets converted pretty easily.
Yeah. But these internships, we would suggest that you do it in your second or third year, because these
Yeah.
will not, yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, there's a separate judicial clerkship program that happens after 5 years. That's also very coveted, and that also has now, I think they have increased the stipend also to 60,000 or 70,000. That comes through an
Yeah.
examination, right?
Yeah. I think the High Court has increased the stipend to 30 and Supreme Court to 60. Yeah.
Yeah, that process is also regularized, and I always tell people that that's also a very good opportunity to do after college, because probably a year or two into this, the kind of investment that you have put, the recall value would be very good when you're looking for a senior later. And also, yeah, you have worked with a High Court judge or Supreme Court judge, so that itself is a big thing.
Yeah, that is like a lot of prestigious
Yeah, and
and
that
almost,
and that recommendation letter when you're writing
yeah,
LLM,
yeah.
that is most important.
Yes.
So how do
So,
you apply?
how do you apply for the internship? Most of the time, it is the registrar who deals with internship applications. So you have to contact the registrar. And I don't know about all high courts. So sometimes, if you just check with the registry, always check with the registry before you apply for an internship. And yes, of course, having a reference would definitely help. If you have interned in a senior advocate's chamber, you can probably ask him to recommend you to the chamber of the judge, and that might just work out for you.
Yeah, and trust me, having a reference would definitely help. Works everywhere, but in
Yeah.
this case, a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah, my favorite. So you'd like to start on this, then I'll take it this up.
Yeah, so you can intern with competition commission. So all these organizations have a very structured internship program, and there is a proper application process. There is a proper procedure that you can actually follow to apply for an internship. And their internships are mostly very structured, and they ensure that the intern learns. So, for example, Competition of Commission of India has got it. So the act itself mandates providing training. So they are compulsorily supposed to provide training, and they ensure that you get a very good learning experience, right? Yes.
Yeah, correct. And see, I would also suggest that intern with NITI, Aayog, SFIO, SEBI, RBI, these also have very good internship programs. Generally, there are two ways these are circulated. Either they will be circulated to your college, or there will be an open call for application. But in both these cases, the kind of work you do, the kind of cases you are exposed to, the policy making, and everything you're exposed to, a lot of them have mandatory research paper writing in 2 months or 3 months. For instance, in SEBI, you have to submit a research paper after your internship. So these things really matter. These things will add a lot of value in your CV when you're writing, when you're thinking of applying for LLM, or when you're actually applying for a law firm job for a law firm internship after this. But most of them have this requirement that you have to finish at least 3 years of your 5 year law college, or you have to be in your third year of 3 year LLB programs. So remember that these do not get converted into job opportunities. So you have to be very careful when to place it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this was from our end. We have already run out of time. Now we would be taking questions. Any questions that you guys might have? Yes, Amaya. Few companies regarding what? Can you clarify?
What kind of companies?
EVs and telecom.
Telecom. I think if you're interested in telecom, I'd suggest that you intern with TRI or TVSAT.
Yeah.
They have really specific internship programs. Just like
Yeah.
we spoke about Competition Commission, TDSAT and TRI offers internship programs where you get to understand the telecom part of things.
TRI's internship program is pretty good. That's what I've heard. TD
Yeah,
SAT, I'm not sure, but TRI's internship program is
TRI's
pretty good.
internship program is very good.
So yeah, I understand electric vehicles. You will have to do a research. Honestly, I do not have very specific knowledge about what are the startups that are coming. Mostly these are going to be startups that you would be looking at, Amaya. Or otherwise, these are going to be proper MNCs or big corporations that have an internship program.
Yeah.
Please recommend organizational internship for IPR field. Try Wipro, try places like these because they have good IT and IPR department. I'm a first year, second semester law student. My college is giving me an NGO internship and asking me to do another one. So what should I do? Do the NGO internship, yeah, in your first year. What do you think, Radha? NGO
Yeah, I think
internship.
NGO internships, I think all of us have done. I did an internship with PUCL as well as CRI in my first year.
Yeah.
So that really helps. You understand, you don't know a lot of law. So these are things you might be interested in. Actually, you get to learn a lot as well.
Yeah. Try doing. Just remember that the NGO internship you're doing, you're working with an organization like PUCL and all who are really active, where you get to do something. Because otherwise, there are many NGOs where you just be chilling for 1 month. So don't do that in your first year.
Yeah.
Okay. Second year at NLU now. Thanks. Well, yeah, Lavina, on what basis big law firms and senior advocates choose as interns, like something different, research papers or knowledge? There's no specific thing. See, I'll tell you, especially with senior advocates or big law firms, you need to, they always will look at where you have interned before. That is a very important factor, not so much with senior advocates, but definitely with big law firms, your college, your other things will help. Yes, Pranav, legal blogs are definitely going to help depending on what is the quality of your blog and what you have written. If it is very specific, if you are writing a lot in a very specific field, it is going to be very useful for you when you're applying for this.
Yes. In legal journalism, it depends on what you want to pursue later on.
I personally love people who
Yeah.
think that they should be doing legal journalism, especially in second or third year. That is an internship I would strongly recommend everybody to do in their second year, being a court reporter, because it's a good thing. Your writing improves. You write in a very approachable manner. You start writing simplistically. You understand court processes. You listen to arguments much more attentively.
Yeah, I had interned with Hindu when I was in my second year.
Okay, how was it?
It was very interesting, although I mean, not a lot of law that was involved, but I got quite a few small, law columns that needed editing and all. They gave it to me.
Yeah, so you get that, I
So
think
that
you
was
get a
very
very good
interesting.
start because my brother has interned with some of these
Yeah.
places. So I've heard very good things. I've seen the kind of growth that happens in writing. Ankita.
How should one gain work experience?
So
Check
to
for
first I'll
cyber
take
laws.
first I'll take this. To what extent does legal writing help with securing a relevant internship job? I think to an extent that nothing else makes a difference as much as your legal writing does. You should be able to write well. That I personally believe in securing job because it's very important. Where do you learn legal drafting? We take combined classes of legal drafting. We have a class tomorrow. Other than that, you have to
Yes,
work with a
so
senior.
I mean, with an advocate who is drafting and filing a lot of, so you don't
Yeah.
get to draft in the initial at least a couple of months of internship unless you're constantly interning with that person. They are not going to give you anything to draft.
Absolutely. मतलब वही रहता है कि legal drafting you will have to at least intern for, at a stretch, like Radha said. If you're doing an internship for first 1 month, trust me, nobody is going to give you any drafting thing because it has a learning curve and every advocate has a different style of drafting. So to learn that office's style of drafting, to learn your senior style of drafting, it's going to take you at least a couple of months to pick it up. Otherwise, proofreading ही मिल जाए आपको, you should be very happy when it comes to drafts.
I think if you go through a few drafts in that one chamber or office, you understand their drafting style, and then from there you pick up.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you really want to learn drafting, what you can do when you're interning is go through the files very carefully, see how things have been drafted, see where it comes from, ask questions. That really helps in drafting. how should one gain experience in tech and cyber law? So these are very contemporary fields. Start writing legal blogs, start writing on things that are happening currently. These are laws that are developing. There are amendments that are coming. So start writing blogs on those, and then try to get an internship. Work with places like Media Nama and all who are doing good work. And there are a lot of research centers. NLU Delhi has, NLU, I think NLS has, where they invite applications. So try working in those places. All right. So yeah, I hope that this was a useful webinar. You learned something. There were some new ideas that you got regarding internships. If you have any questions, any comments or anything, get in touch with us. What are the parameters of becoming an editor? So editor of a law review or editor of a journal? I think she's talking about is the same. Ankita is the one who was talking about.
Yeah, so Ankita,
Yeah,
if you're really interested, try getting internship with places like SCC Online. They offer internship programs. Certain journals actually offer internship programs. You'll actually understand how editing is done. And yeah.
Just so get in touch with us. What are the other internships you can do? We will discuss that, and probably we'll take it. We'll take the remaining thing, and next time we are discussing this topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.